What is up, everybody? James here from the Sawyer Family Reviews channel and ActionFeatures.net. You know it's time for another Marvel Select review. Today it is the Disney Store exclusive Ant-Man, as seen in the film Ant-Man and the Wasp. Let's check him out. I know what you guys are saying right now. That's not Ant-Man. Well, I wanted to do this quick little update on the last review I posted, which was on this awesome Infinity War Captain America from Marvel Select. Something I did not notice while doing the review. I was so focused on the cool shields and the paint app and the sculpt and all that stuff. I didn't even notice that this lower left leg is actually a duplicate. So these two are the same. I was having a bit of trouble getting this to line up when I was doing the pictures and everything, but it never even dawned on me that this was a separate piece. When I'm recording, I'm kind of looking at a down angle, so I didn't really see where the paint was going down, that it was on the same leg. But now that I've got my friend's Captain America and I have them side by side, I can't believe I missed it. So my bad, guys. I try my best to notice everything on the figure and cover everything for you guys, and I messed up this time. So, that being said, this is still an awesome figure, even with that defect. I've already contacted Diamond Select. They're going to get me a replacement. They're going to fix it. Diamond Select has great customer service. And it doesn't change anything about the review about the figure itself. I just got one mess up on my figure. Everything else on the figure is the same. The articulation was great, the sculpt, paint, all that stuff. So don't let my little goof deter you from picking this guy up, because most of them are going to show up like this. Perfectly put together, the right pieces, all that stuff. This is the first mistake I've ever gotten from Diamond Select. But I just wanted to show you guys that I did goof, and I didn't even notice that spot. So I'll try to do better next time. Okay, on with Ant-Man. Alright, let's start things off with a look at Ant-Man inside the package first. Then we'll get him out of there and do the whole figure review. He features the same style of Marvel Select packaging that we've seen through all the Diamond Select lines, which is a large bubble area and a card back that kind of wraps around the side of the package. What's different on the Disney Store exclusive Marvel Select figures is that their bubbles are often a little bit more shallow, like it's not quite as full as the comic shop versions and specialty market versions, and I think that's because they have to take into account the actual shelf space at Disney stores. So the bubbles often are more shallow on these Disney Store exclusives, like Thanos was a little bit smaller, Iron Man was smaller, Wasp was smaller. I've just noticed that being a trend where their bubbles aren't quite as large. Other than that, though, it's pretty much the same style of packaging, and I really like that the Diamond Select maintains this style of packaging for so long and across so many different licenses. I've said it a bunch of times in these reviews, but I really do dig that. So the packaging features a large bubble where you can see Ant-Man in full view, along with the 3 minifigures that are included with Ant-Man, which we'll talk more about once we actually get him out of the box and how cool the decisions are with these minifigures. You can see that there's a stand right here. There's actually another one below it that are for 2 of the minifigures. I believe there's only 2. Yeah. We've got the Ant-Man name here along the side, the Disney Store logo, which denotes that this is a Disney Store exclusive. I already said there's an Ant-Man and the Wasp image down below. The side of the box features an image of Ant-Man as he's coming from a shrunken size, like he's growing larger. So you can see another image of Ant-Man behind him and the Ant-Man and the Wasp logo there. The back of the box, like most Disney Store exclusives, doesn't have much of a write-up. In fact, it's got no write-up whatsoever. It's just got a large image of Ant-Man on the back with Ant-Man and the Wasp logo and a bunch of write-up stuff down here in different languages. And the $24.95 price tag down below, which is how much this figure is on both the shopdisney.com and the marvelstore.com. I don't know if anybody is actually finding this in a Disney store as of the time of this recording, which is March 13th, something like that. So I'm hoping that it's actually going to be in store soon, but if you can't, hit those links in the info section for links to go to the Marvel Store or Shop Disney. All right, let's get him out of there and take a look at it. Instead of starting things off with Ant-Man, let's start with his accessories. Now, ordinarily, Diamond Selects will come with bases. Sometimes they include an extra figure. This time around, for both Ant-Man and the Wasp, minifigures are included. Wasp included 2 minifigures, one of herself and one of Ant-Man. Ant-Man includes 3, and this time around there are 3 unique characters too. So first of all, we have a Wasp figurine, which is the Janet Van Dyne Wasp from the flashback sequence. She's crouched down, her wings are not deployed. This is from, I believe, the sequence where they're on the rocket and trying to disarm it. She's painted with a reddish pink coloring and silver highlights and black. The sculpt is really nice. It's very tiny, and so some small details, which I'm surprised to see, are actually on here, like her red lenses and the 2 red lines running up her mask. Really cool little figurine. Then we get a Hank Pym in his Quantum Realm suit, where he goes into the Quantum Realm to look for Janet later on in the film. And this is really well sculpted too. He's got some silver, black highlights, some red on there. That's kind of cool, that little hose on the back. I didn't even notice that. This reminds me of like a Starcom figure from when I was a kid. So that's really neat. And he comes with a base. Now both the Hank Pym and the Scott Lang Ant-Man come with bases. The Janet does not. She has no holes on her feet to plug into anything, but she stands just fine on her own due to that stance. And these bases are the same base that was included with the Ant-Man that came with Wasp. And then last but not least, we have a Scott Lang Ant-Man, but what's cool about this Ant-Man is that it's the Civil War suit. And it's slightly different than the other Ant-Man suits in that it has gray highlights, there's no red lines on the mask, so this is definitely the Civil War suit. I'm going to bring in the Ant-Man that was included with the Wasp figure, which is the Ant-Man and the Wasp Ant-Man suit, so you can kind of see the differences between the two. I know they're kind of tiny, it's kind of tough to make out probably in the video, but you'll see, if you go to hit the info section, you'll see our gallery online of all the pictures, and you can get a better look at these small guys. I think this is a really neat pack-in. I like minifigures. It's maybe not as cool as a base, but I do love the fact that they included both a Janet and a Hank in with the set. Alright, let's move on to Ant-Man. Okay, here is Ant-Man out of the box now. So, we've already covered the minifigures. The only other thing that is included with the figure are a pair of interchangeable fist hands. These just plug right in, you pull down the regular hands and pop these guys right on. The pegs are nice and big. I don't think there's going to be any breakage issues between pulling these out and switching them on. I do prefer the open hands to the fist hands. To me, Ant-Man's more of a sneaky type of guy and not much of a fighter guy. The sculpt itself is sharp. Now, again, this is based on Ant-Man's uniform from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Each movie is a little different between Ant-Man, Civil War, and now Ant-Man and the Wasp. The suit has changed over each film. Although they are very similar to each film, they are different. There's slight differences in the elements of the silver and grays and all that stuff. And Diamond Select has captured it really well, in my opinion. I think that this is a sharp sculpt. I love the texturing. There's like this basketball sort of texture all over the suit. The coloring is really nice in that it's more of a metallic red and not sort of the flat red that the Marvel Legend had. I'm going to bring that one in too. And I'm not throwing rocks at this Marvel Legend. This Marvel Legend is great. It's one of my favorite of the Marvel Legend series. But when you have them side by side, I think, again, even like with the first Ant-Man, that Diamond Select did a better job of capturing that. I think they've also done a better job of capturing it this time around. This one, the red is a little too, I don't know, bright and looks like a red paint, whereas this looks like a metallic material that they've used for the suit instead of just like a paint job, whereas this, to me, looks just like a figure that's been painted red. Yeah, and the differences between the masks, too, are pretty evident in the sculpts. I like the smaller lenses on the Marvel Select as opposed to these larger lenses they gave to the Marvel Legend version. The Marvel Legend also has a darker space along the helmet and along the sides, whereas the Marvel Select just has a sort of gunmetal coloring on the back and a brighter silver on the front. Now, just like the Wasp figure, the lenses are not clear. They may appear black in this, but up close you can see they have a reddish sheen. So they've given it sort of a glossy look this time around, whereas the Wasp was a very flat color on her lenses. The Ant-Man this time around has sort of a blackish, or a dark blackish red metallic lens inside their paint job. All right, let's move the Marvel Legend out of the way. I'm going to compare it to the first release Marvel Select Ant-Man, so you can see the differences in the suits and the size. Some people complained about this older Ant-Man being too short, and if that is a complaint that you had, okay, come on now. Ooh, you're going to be difficult, aren't you? Come on, Ant-Man. Maybe some people complain about him standing, because he's not wanting to for me. Alright, hang on here. Sorry, guys. There we go. So if the complaint was that the old Marvel Select Ant-Man was a little short for you, the new one is just a hair taller. So, this may be the Ant-Man you want to go with and replace your old one. I do love both suits, and I love the differences between the two. I think that it would be really cool if somehow Marvel Select managed to get the Civil War suit out, so you'd have each step of the way with the designs of the suits. But I'm still happy with just the two of these. One last comparison for you guys, and that is the new Wasp next to him, since these two are meant to be together, and they just got released together, or at least released around the same time. There we go. Come on now. Ah, there we go. So as you can see, the height difference on those is pretty nice. I love the texturing on both and the metallic paint on both. It's a really cool matched set, and it's awesome that Marvel Select managed to get both of these out at the same time, completely unaware to fans that they were coming, that they just came out of nowhere. I'm a big fan of that. I know I said a lot of that during the Wasp review, but I'm still stoked that these just kind of came out of nowhere. Alright, let's talk about articulation on him. I think we've covered his sculpt and paint and all that stuff. The paint on him, even though I've expressed my love of the metallic, I will say that the paint job is also very clean. There's clean lines, there's not any glop or anything like that. Some of these lines on the legs are actually really small, the silver, and there's no stray marks on them. It's just overall a really nice paint job. Look at that little silver spot in the back, that's nice. So, yeah, the articulation. Now, he's not the most articulated Marvel Select I've seen. He's got a couple points where I kind of thought there would be a joint, and there's not. So, we'll get to that. First of all, he's got ankles that hinge up and down, and then they're on a rocker joint. The lower part of the pant leg, I guess you would call that, is somewhat restrictive on this joint. So there's not a lot of ankle movement going on here. And it feels like it could be a little bit tighter when it moves forward. As you can see, I was having some trouble getting the figure to stay standing up. It's not a huge deal, especially if you got him onto a base or put a doll stand on him. You'd have no issues with him standing, obviously, but it's something to watch out for. Just don't put all the, count on him to keep all his weight with the way that empty space in the front of the pants is. That seems like it might be a weak spot over time. Double knee joint, which is ratcheting, goes all the way back to there. He's got a mid thigh swivel, which goes all the way around. His hip joints are a little different than the Marvel Select Captain America Infinity War I just showed you yesterday, in that he doesn't have the DC-UC style. It's actually a ball joint. So there's actually like a barbell inside there, and these are mounted on a ball. So you get the splits pretty good, and then some up and down, all around movement. This thigh seems a little more restricted than this thigh does. There's not a whole lot of forward and back, but there's a lot of side-to-side movement going on here. And again, it's an actual ball joint, so you can kind of move the hips out a little bit, move them in. There is no waist joint, because the belt and the stomach part is all one sculpt, it looks like. There is a mid-torso joint, and that's got a lot of movement on it. He gets back to like that. He goes forward. He's got some side-to-side. And then he's got shoulders that swivel all around and then hinge in and out. There's a little bit of ratcheting going on there. He's got a single elbow joint, but where it inserts, it swivels around and then hinges up and down. And then he's got swivels at the wrists that hinge in and out. And then he actually has like a double joint on the neck. So the piece that the helmet plugs into is actually a hinge joint and a swivel joint inside of the neck. And then on top of that is another hinge joint, it feels like, where that piece inserts into the helmet. It's kind of tough to explain, but he does get some good head movement, up and down, swivel around. It's not a true ball joint. It doesn't feel like, it feels like it's more like a swivel, and then the hinge moves up and down. Okay, that covers, I think, just about everything on the figure. This is an awesome release. Great surprise release, $25 at the Disney Store. Or you can hit the Disney Store online shop or the marvelshop.com. Any one of those, you can get this figure for 25 bucks. To me, that's pretty solid. I would watch for coupons and stuff at the Disney Store. There's a lot of times they'll do like a percentage off, or they'll do a free shipping deal where you order like 50 bucks or more and you'll get free shipping. So the perfect time would be to pick up Ant-Man and Wasp together and qualify for that free shipping when they run that free shipping deal. I know that shopmarvel.com had the spend 50 and you get free shipping going for a while there. I'll put links down in the info section for Ant-Man here to order online in case you don't have a Disney store nearby, or just check your local Disney stores if you just want to pick one up in person. I don't think there's going to be as many problems on a paint job finding a good one on this, just because there's not much wash to it. There's not a lot of crazy different patterning anywhere on there. There is a complicated paint job, but not to the point where you'd see a lot of stray lines and glop. So I think ordering him online, you'd be pretty safe. All right, I guess that's about it on this one. I think next up we're going to do Thor and Groot, and then maybe after that Iron Spider. I'm going to try and crank one of these out a week, but we'll see how it goes. If you enjoy the videos, please click like and subscribe, notify, leave a comment in the comment section below. Is maybe a Marvel select you want to see me review in the future. All right, see you guys.